Hello and welcome. It's Al here from musicguypodcast.com. Today we're going to be talking about quantizing drums in Pro Tools. Now, quantizing means taking all the notes in a performance and snapping them right to your grid in Pro Tools. So the first thing we need to do is make sure that our tempo is set correctly based on the tempo that we recorded the song at. So if you need to change your tempo, you can zoom out and go to the beginning of the session, and there'll be this little red dot up here in the upper left corner of your clip window. You can double click on that and enter the correct tempo. Ours is already correct, so we will leave it. The next thing you want to do is make sure you're in grid mode. This does work in any of the other modes, but grid is sort of the easiest to see what's happening. And then you want to set your grid resolution here at the top center to the appropriate value. For most songs, that's going to be an eighth note or a 16th note. And you'll sort of be able to see here, if we select 16th note and zoom in, you can see that these grid lines are sort of matching up with the drum performance. So we know that 16th note is the correct resolution to be at. The next thing we have to do is create a group for our drum tracks so that we can edit them all together. So what we'll do is we'll select our top drum track, hold shift, click and select our bottom drum track. That is in fact the bottom one. And we can create a group by pressing Control and G on a PC, Apple G on a Mac, or going to our group pop-up menu here and saying new group. And all our tracks that we have selected are currently already in the group. If we needed to add any more, we could do that right now. But we've got them all in there already. So we'll call this group drums. And we can start working. We're going to be working on this little fill here going into verse 2. So the next thing we need to do is make sure that tab to transient is enabled. And that's this button up here in the top left. Now, if tab to transient is enabled, it will allow us to press the tab key and jump to the next note of the performance. So what we're going to do is press tab and make a separation by pressing B. And then we can repeat this. Just keep hitting tab until we get to the next note of the performance. B to make a separation. And so forth. And then we'll do a little bit of the groove as well in the second verse. So just keep going until we hit the next note of the performance. You can do hi-hat notes in between as well if you want. Just use your ears and your eyes to sort of make sure that you're right at the beginning of that hit. And that should do it. And then we'll put one more here sort of just to separate the rest of the track from what we're doing. Okay. So now, using our cursor tool, we're going to double-click the first clip, hold shift, double-click the last clip, and we're ready to quantize by pressing Control and number pad 0 on PC or Apple 0 on a Mac. So now what you'll see is each clip has been snapped to the grid lines of our session. So we're almost done here. This is going to sound a little bit choppy if we listen to it. So the way we fix that is by creating some fades. The easiest way to do this is by opening up Beat Detective inside of Pro Tools by pressing Control and number pad 8 on a PC, Apple 8 on a Mac, or by going to your event menu and selecting Beat Detective right there. I don't use any of these top functions, but I do use edit smoothing quite a bit. So go to edit smoothing, select fill and crossfade. I like to use a crossfade length of 10 milliseconds. And then all you have to do is select over all of the gaps here up until before the last edit point. And what Beat Detective will do is automatically fill in these spaces and then create a crossfade of 10 milliseconds just before that edit point, which is useful, especially for drums, because we don't want to be fading over the start of a note. So all we have to do now is click Smooth, And we'll see that it has now made those fades for us and filled in that space. So now it should sound nice and smooth. And there you have it, some quantized drums. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please leave a comment, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.